We've all seen the videos of the Boston Dynamics robot. They're super scary, everyone is afraid of them, nobody does anything. So I took it upon myself to create an art piece to spread awareness of this danger. Here's the workflow video, hope you enjoy, let's get into it. So I began by going to Boston Dynamics website and stole their image. Then I took that image into Blender and I traced it like a 5-year-old when it wants to draw a cartoon face. It feels a bit like cheating, but it's absolutely okay. I then extruded it sideways so that it became 3D. I cut it in half and then I mirrored that part. If I work on one side, then that gets automatically copied to the other side. So I only have to do one side. Then I added some thickness to it. He's still very hollow, so I added this box and modified it a little bit. That became his shoulder. I also added another box and this one was bigger and that became his body. Are you enjoying this? Are you learning a lot? Okay, let's continue. So at this point I basically had a weird brick, which is basically what the robot is, so it was fine, but to make sure that I wasn't completely messing this up, I added some color to see if it looked something like the real thing. I mean, yeah, sure. It's close, right? Close. There were some legs missing obviously, so I added those. I also put it in a scene to see how it would look later, and I liked it. I added some more legs and there we have it, the finished robot. It looked pretty good actually, it looks good. I mean, I obviously used some reference, so but whatever. Okay, so it's time for the environment. I added this plane and I mess around with these nodes to basically create the wooden material. I'm not gonna go into detail on how I do this because it's boring. It is actually pretty interesting, but it doesn't fit the video. So, but here's basically the end result of the wood. So my plan was that the robot was gonna stick out of a door, and so I started modeling the wooden frame, and I basically do that by making a cross section of it and then extrude it. I finished the rest of the frame and then I added a plane as the wall. Then I cut out a rectangle in that plane, and the beam bada boom, there's our wall. I added another robot and also a wall molding. I had to Google what that was in English. Just like the saying, a door frame is useless without its door. So I took a door from the internet and it was huge. So I scaled it down to match the scene. I made the door green and then I also made the handle golden. Anyway, I flipped the door and then I went to the internet to see if I could find a man I could put upon it. I took this guy into Blender and he was huge as well. So I'm starting to think if it's actually my scene that's small. I tried to make this material, but I accidentally made a nightmare. I stomped him on the ground and I rotated him into position, but it wasn't looking quite right. So I took parts of him and I slammed those even harder on the ground, just like you slam that subscribe button. I accidentally messed up his shoulder before, so I fixed it temporarily for the camera, just like you would do in real life. If you look over to your right, you can already see the absolute terror in the image. I mean, there's zero humor and only terror. Moving on, I extruded a plane for the back wall. I also moved it backwards so I get some depth in the image, and then I pretty much did the same thing for the ceiling. It was time to head out to the internet again to find some models, and I found a shoe that I put into the scene. It looked kind of messed up, but I fixed that later, sort of. I tilted the door and then I slid the shoe right in there. The tilted door looked better for the image because you could almost not even see the flat one. In the next part here, I basically just go to the internet and find a bunch of models and put them into the scene. It's a little bit boring, so I'm not going to show you everything. But yes, all of them were super big, and yes, my scene is very small, and no, it does not make me insecure, okay? Okay, so here we have the final scene. As you can see, there's a bunch of stuff here. All of these models, like I said, I've taken from online, stole them. Actually, they gave it to me, so it's not stealing, okay? One thing you may not understand by just looking at this is what are all these lines and circles and squares, and those are all lights. The main light, which actually will lit up the scene the most, is this light right here. And as you can see, I put it right in front of this machine gun that I added, and that's gonna be the muzzle flash. The last thing that I haven't talked about is one thing that really makes or breaks the whole thing, which is the fog, and it's right here. It's just a box and there's fog inside of it. That really makes a scene. So I'm done with all the 3D stuff here, and I did a lot in Photoshop actually, but I don't want to spoil the end result, so I'm just gonna show it. If you wanted to see the Photoshop process, then fuck you. No. Okay, you ready for a big reveal? Okay, 1, 2, 3. So, like I said in the beginning, this became much more dark than I expected. In my head, like I said, it was just funny, like these robots coming in. But in reality, I mean, this is horrible. First of all, we got this corpse laying there. We got these 2 robots coming in with machine guns. And you can see they're just absolutely pulverizing this family living here. I don't know why I love saying that. That's a bit concerning. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I see you next time. Okay, bye.